राधे गोपाला गोपी गोपाला
राधे गोपाला गोपी गोपाला
राधे गोपाला गोपी गोपाला
राधे गोपाला गोपी गोपाला
मीरा के नाथ प्रभु मुरली 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 गोपाला
गोवर्धनोद्धार गोपाल बाला
गोवर्धन ओधार गोपाल बाला
गोवर्धन ओद्धार गोपाल बाला
गोवर्धन ओधार गोपाल बाला
राधे गोपाला गोपी गोपाला
राधे गोपाला गोपी गोपाला
राधे गोपाला गोपी गोपाला
राधे गोपाला गोपी गोपाला
गोविंद गोपाल हे नंदलाला
गोविंद गोपाल हे नंदलाला
गोविंद गोपाल हे नंदलाला
गोविंद गोपाल हे नंदलाला
राधे गोपाला गोपी गोपाला
राधे गोपाला गोपी गोपाला
राधे गोपाला गोपी गोपाला
राधे गोपाला गोपी गोपाला
प्रेम से बोले वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय. Anil ji, just turn the mic on the harmonium down a little, and if we could get the mic on the tabla up a little bit, we should be fine there. Excellent. So I think we're all technically set. Bhagwan ji has different ideas. And as we're about to now join together in those most wonderful verses glorifying Mahavira Swami Hanuman ji, let us all join together as we render those our voices. Let us blend our voices together, singing those wonderful verses of Hanuman Chalisa together.
श्री गुरु चरण सरोज रज निज मन मुकुर सुधार बरनो रघुबर विमल जसु जो दायक फल चार बुद्धिहीन तनु जानिके सुमिरो पवन कुमार बल बुद्धि विद्या देहु मोहि हरहु कलेश विकार जय हनुमान ज्ञान गुण सागर जय कपीश तिहु लोक उजागर राम दूत अतुलित बल धामा अंजनी पुत्र पवन सुत नामा महावीर विक्रम बजरंगी कुमति निवार सुमति के संगी कंचन बरन विराज सुबेसा
वदन तुम्हारो यश गावे अस कहि श्रीपति कंठ लगावे
सनकादिक ब्रह्मादि मुनीषा नारद शारद सहित अहिसा
यम कुबेर दिगपाल जहाते कवि गोविंद कहि सके कहाते
तुम उपकार सुग्रीव ही कीना राम मिलाए राग पर दीना
तुम्हारो मंत्र विभीषण माना लंकेश्वर भय सब जग जाना
युग सहस्र जो जन पर भानु वीरोताहि मधुर फल जानु
प्रभु मुद्रिका मेरे मुख माही जलधि लाग गए अर्चे रच नाही
दुर्गम काज जगत के जेते सुगम अनुग्रह तुम्हारे तेते
राम दुआरे तुम रखवारे होत न आज्ञा बिन पैसारे
सब सुख रहे तुम्हारी शरणा तुम रक्षक काहू को डरना
आपन तेज सभारो आपे
तीनों लोक हाकते कापे
भूत पिशाच निकट नहीं आवे महावीर जब नाम सुनावे नासे रोग हरे सब पीरा जपत निरंतर हनुमत बीरा
संकट ते हनुमान छुड़ावे मन क्रम बचन ज्ञान जो लावे
सब पर राम तपस्वी राजा जिनके काज सकल तुम साजा
और मनोरथ जो कोई लावे सोई अमित जीवन फल पावे
चारों युग पर ताप तुम्हारा है प्रसिद्ध जगत उजियारा
साधु संत के तुम रखवारे असुर निकंदन राम दुलारे
अष्ट सिद्धि नव निधि के दाता असवर दीन जानकी माता
राम रसायन तुम्हारे पासा सरल हो रघुपति के दासा
तुम्हारे भजन राम को पावे जन्म जन्म के दुख बिसरावे
अंत काल रघुवर पुर जाए जहाँ जन्म हरि भक्त कहाई
और देवता चित्त न धरई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई
संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बलबीरा
जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करो गुरुदेव की नाई
जो सत बार पाठ कर कोई जो चही बंदी महासुख होई
जो यह पढ़े हनुमान चालीसा होए सिद्धि साखी गौरी सा तुलसीदास सदा हरि झेरा ही जयनाथ हृदय महादेरा
पवन तनय संकट हरण मंगल मूर्ति रूप राम लखन सीता सहित हृदय बसहु सुरभूप सियापति रामचंद्र
Prem se bolo Shri Mahavira Swami ki jai. At this juncture, I would invite the teachers of the Bal Vihar class to take the children down. So all of the young children, those who are prior to secondary school level, even those of you who may be with us for the first time, you are invited to go down with the teachers to the children's class to engage in the Bal Vihar program. So as the children currently make their way with their teachers, it gives me very great pleasure to bring to the podium someone who is no stranger to us all, someone we are very, very familiar with. She is none other than the president of the Sri Sivak Sabha, the Women's Service League of the Krishna Mandir, Mrs. Anne-Marie Tiwari. And Mrs. Tiwari's purpose this morning, as the Sri Sivak Sabha takes stage from now for the rest of the morning's events, she will be introducing our very distinguished guest speaker this morning. So now please welcome to the podium our president of the Sri Sivak Sabha, Mrs. Anne-Marie Tiwari.
Thank you all very much. Sitaram, everyone. Our revered resident Pandit, Pandit Rudranath Maharaj, Pandit Justice Devendra Rampasad, our president of the Krishna Mandir Management Committee, Mr. Gangadeen Sinanan, Bhayo or Behanu all. On March 8th every year, we celebrate International Women's Day, a day when we recognize the accomplishments of our women folk and raise pertinent issues. This year, the theme is Inspire Inclusion. And I particularly like the expansion of the theme when we inspire others to understand and value women's inclusion, we forge a better world. Think about it carefully. And when women themselves are inspired to be included, there is a sense of belonging, relevance, and empowerment. And I truly believe that this is what the Sri Sivak Sabha, the Women's Service League, brings to the women of Krishna Mandir, to all its members. All women are inspired to be included. We feel a sense of belonging, we are relevant, and we are empowered. And when I look at our most prestigious devotee here, Mrs. Ramdulari Maharaj, she will be 97 soon, a woman of class. She has brought up her children relatively without a spouse, and she has no regrets. Look at her, an inspiration for us all as women to stand up and be strong. To touch on this theme this morning, we also have our guest speaker, Mrs. Sabrina Maulabaksh. She holds a BSc in Political Science and International Relations and an MSc in Gender and Development Studies from the University of the West Indies. Mrs. Maulabaksh was a recipient of the Women's Peacemaker 2017 Visiting Scholar Award at the Joan B. Kroc Institute for Peace and Justice at the University of San Diego. Sabrina holds membership in international women, peace, and security organizations, such as Women Mediators Across the Commonwealth, Women's Alliance for Security Leadership, and the International Civil Society Network. A former councillor, and this is why you all know the name well, and deputy mayor of San Fernando, she has been involved in the feminist movement for over 3 decades. At present, she serves on a cabinet-appointed interministerial committee to address gender-based family violence in Trinidad and Tobago, and functions as the general manager of the Coalition Against Domestic Violence. And this is how we met her again when our ladies group rendered some support to that group last year when they were having a particular function. So let us put our hands together and welcome our guest speaker, Mrs. Sabrina Maulabach.
Sitaram, is it okay to take off the microphone out of the... Yes? Thank you, because it will allow me to focus on the multimedia so that it gives me some flexibility. Thank you so very much. Okay, so I stand on all the protocols previously observed, and I'm always at a disadvantage because of my height when I have to take off my shoes. So that's why, if I stand there, some of you might not be able to see me. So I like the flexibility to move around so I can engage better, I can see all the faces and so on. I value the opportunity to be here this morning. And this Mandir is very special to me. And it brings back such good memories simply because when I was a counselor at the San Fernando City Corporation, when I would do my Diwali celebrations, I can tell you, I will have no other place to have my parsad made than here. I tell you. Just my mother would say to me, God bless her soul, Sabrina, and my mother was a houseworm. She would not go anywhere, but she will come out for the Diwali celebration. And if she couldn't make it because she wasn't feeling well, she said, you make sure and stack away about 10 parcels for me. Yes, and I thank the members of the Mandir who would every year religiously make the parsad, and so I always remember that. And as I sat listening to the bhajans, I'm Presbyterian, and as I sat there listening to the bhajans, it took me back to my childhood, and my paws rose on my hands, on my arms and hands, because I remember my grandmother on Diwali playing the bhajans, and she would take me to the Hindu weddings, and it was so special to me. So bringing back those memories, being here, I think it was very nostalgic. Anyway, to the topic at hand. And so this morning, I'm honored. Yes, you can put up the presentation now. As we celebrate International Women's Day, I have been in the women's movement for over 3 decades in Trinidad and Tobago, and we fought. And we fought for lots of things in Trinidad and Tobago. We fought to have the Domestic Violence Act introduced. We fought to have the Sex Offenders Registry introduced. We fought to have the Domestic Violence Act amended. We fought to have the end of child marriage. So when we hear about the women's movement, it did not come easy. It came about because of struggles for women so that they can have the rights. And some people say and have the thinking now, well, you women have reached, you're all taking over. And as a matter of fact, the men are at risk, so we need to concentrate on the men. And so I always say, when you start in some races, if there is someone with a disability, you give them a little distance in front. Well, I use the same analogy. Women are not in the same spot. We're not starting off at the same block. So we need to concentrate on ensuring that we all start at the same block. And so this morning, I want to, in the midst of all the achievement of International Women's Day and sharing that, I want to deal with maybe a sensitive, maybe an uncomfortable topic, but a necessary one in my view. So, why do we celebrate International Women's Day? And what is the reality for women in the globe and in Trinidad and Tobago? We say women have reached, and women, they are taking over, and we are well placed. Well, I want to tell you that the data shows differently. And so, if you look to the screen, you will see that nearly 35% of the female population will be hungry for food deficiency by 2030. And that's 236 more women and girls compared to 131 men and boys. Yes? According to the 2022 Gender Gap report, it will take 151 years to close the economic gender gap. See, we're talking centuries here. Yes? It will take over 2 centuries, 200 years to achieve gender parity. That's global, huh? The World Economic Forum reports that the global gender pay gap is estimated to take over 100 years. Yes? It will take, listen to this one, I know we have lawyers in our midst. It will take 300 years to achieve women's legal equality. 300 years. Do we still believe that women are at the same place after hearing this? Well, I hope not. And so we move on. Women occupy 33% of the leadership positions globally. And this is what is startling. An estimated 736 million women have been subjected to physical and/or sexual intimate partner violence or non-partner violence at least once in their lifetime. And 71% of victims around the world are women. Yes? Can we move on to the other slide? That's the reality, folks. That's the reality for women. And so let's move to local. Out of 41 parliamentarians, there are 12 women in Trinidad and Tobago. Out of 29 ministers, 10 are women. And you know where the women are placed? Guess what ministries? Ministries of social development, what is considered to be the soft ministries. Not the ministries, that matter and they can handle, like the Ministry of Finance, or the Minister of National Security. We will not find female ministers in those because those are considered to be the places where male folks have the competencies, so these are facts. In 2022, the number of female Fortune CEOs rose from 9%, from 5%. So 91% are men. That's in business. The gender pay gap in Trinidad and Tobago is 21%. Women in the labor force is represents 46.7%. And in the Caribbean, women represent 45.9% in the informal economy. That's vendors and so on. More than 60% of our women serve as judicial officers. That's a really good stat. The WICB, that's Women in Sport, they're aiming for equal pay for men and women by 2027. So they play the same game, but still not receiving the same pay as women in sport. Out of 13,906 registered teachers, 76.1 are female. So we have more teachers. And why? Because we still believe that women ought to be nurturers, and women are the ones who, supposed to be disciplining the children and teaching and so on. So that's full, because this is where we think women are more valued and highly valued. Yes, and it's shown in the primary, even in the preschool teachers, only out of 325 teachers, only 3 are male. 3 are male. Song and joke here. Yeah. And if you find me, occasionally I may say things that I will try to make you smile and laugh a little bit so you will not fall asleep on me. And so, I interject sometimes if I see some drooping eyes or some drooping heads, okay? That's the presenter in me. And yes, so this is very important. Data from CAPA, that's an arm of the police service, show that during the period 2018 to 22, there were 4,667 reports of sexual violence. Alarmingly, 92% of those were persons under 35. 44% of ever partnered women experience IPV, which is intimate partner violence, and this is higher than the global average. Right? That's 1 in every 2 women in Trinidad and Tobago. 1 in every 2 women, folks, have experienced intimate partner violence, at least one form of intimate partner violence in their lifetime. The femicide rate, we have over 60 murders of women every year, out of which approximately, in the last 2 years it dipped, 25 women are murdered every year as a result of domestic violence. That's the reality for women as we celebrate International Women's Day. So today, with your blessing, I want to focus on violence against women in Trinidad and Tobago. So we can move to the next slide. The next slide, please. Thank you. So we hear all kinds of terms. We hear GBV, IPV, DV, and so that needs some explanation because sometimes there's the tendency to get confused. So gender-based violence refers to all forms of violence that happen to women, girls, and men. And I want to say this from the outset. Men are victims of domestic violence because there is the feeling that only women experience domestic violence. And so, but the fact is also that women experience domestic violence at a greater proportion, and it's more normalized and accepted, quote unquote, for women to experience domestic violence. And so, there are 4 types of violence associated with gender-based violence. There's physical, there's sexual, there's economic, there's financial, and gender-based violence could take many forms. It can take rape, it includes domestic violence, it includes things like honor killings and that kind of thing. So it's a broad, generic term to describe all forms of violence of a particular nature. And it can be directed to persons from the LGBTQ community. And when we say gender, we do not mean sex. Sex refers to biology, the body parts that you are born with. However, gender is a more fluid concept. It's a social construct, and it means how you are socialized into understanding what roles there are for men and what roles there are for women, and what constitutes masculinity and what constitutes femininity. So it's a learned behavior. We cool with that? We understand the difference? All right. No? All right. Next slide, please. Next slide. Young Maraj. Thank you. And so we move on to this other one, which is intimate partner violence. And intimate partner violence refers to a pattern of behavior utilized by one partner, the abuser or the batterer, to exert and maintain control over another person, the survivor or the victim, where there exists an intimate relationship. So this does not only happen in marriage or in common law relationships, it can happen with young people who are dating as well. So as long as you are in an intimate relationship with someone and there's violence in the relationship, it's referred to as intimate partner violence. Okay, next slide. Thank you. And so let's talk a little bit about this, domestic violence, because this is severely misunderstood. So we have domestic violence, and domestic violence refers to any physical, sexual, emotional, psychological, or financial abuse committed by a person against a spouse, child, or any person who is a member of the household. So if we're living in a household with an auntie, a cousin, a grandmother, and whoever, and there is any violence perpetrated against any person in that household, it's considered to be domestic violence. It's not only against partners, husband, wife, and children. It can also be perpetrated to any other persons living within the household. Yes? Next slide, please. And so we know about the different types of abuse. We know about the physical abuse: slapping, shoving, grabbing, pinching, biting, hair pulling. It also includes denying a partner medical care. That constitutes physical abuse. Or forcing your partner or person to use alcohol or for them to use drugs. And then, of course, there's sexual abuse. Any contact or behavior without consent. Consent, people, is the issue here. And yes, folks, there can be rape within the context of marriage. Many people do not think so, but yes, no means no, and there needs to be consent. Because in many cases, even where there are situations of physical abuse, sex is demanded and demanded after, and in that case, it's forced. Yes? And folks, there's a reason for describing this, because as the general manager of the Coalition Against Domestic Violence, we have about 40 persons coming to us every month. And when we hear the stories, we think sometimes we are living in the dark ages. When we hear the stories, and these are real stories of people, and it's not one particular class of people, living in a particular area. You would not like to imagine the kinds of persons coming to us for support and the kinds of things that they experience. Yes? Next slide, please. Emotional abuse. Undermining an individual's self-worth, sense of self-worth, or self-esteem. It includes constant criticism. You can't cook. You can't dress. You can't do this right. You don't know how to raise the children. You're this, you're that. Yes? Diminishing one's abilities, name-calling, damaging one's relationship with his or her children. That is a deliberate thing to undermine a person's self-esteem or self-worth because you want them in a position where they feel that they're worth nothing. That's a form of emotional abuse. And then there is economic abuse, making an individual financially dependent by maintaining total control over financial resources. It involves withholding one's access to money or forbidding one's attendance at school or even to go to work. So we have many situations when people quote in, "Don't worry, darling, I will take care of you. I don't want you working. I don't want my wife working because I want to take care of you. I am your protector. I could take good care of you." It may be so, but do you think that's really the situation? For perpetrators, and when I say these things, it's for perpetrators, it's to make sure that they have you where they want you. They can see you. They know where you're going. They want to know how much money you're working for. And then even want to ask you for money too when you're working. Yes? That's economic abuse. And then there is psychological abuse. And this includes causing fear by intimidation, threatening physical harm to self, partner, children, or partner's family or friends, destruction of pets and property, and forcing isolation from family, friends, or school, or work. So if you only leave me, I go dead. I don't know how I will make out without you. I don't know, I love you so much. I will kill myself, That's abuse. That's abuse. And we feeling loved, especially when we're in a relationship and we're now courting. Ooh, this person loved me so much. Look at, and we're feeling good about it, not knowing those are what we will refer to as red flags. Yes? And then this situation of taking a person away from their family. The way you're going by your sister. I don't want you lying with them friends. The way you're going by your mother. Because them will encourage you in the wrong thing. That's a deliberate attempt to isolate you from your support network so that there can be control over you. And when I do you what I want from the perpetrator's perspective, you have nobody to turn to. See how dangerous this thing is? Yes. All right, so thank you. Next slide, please. And so we move on to child abuse, which is another form of domestic violence. And it involves any act that endangers or impairs a child's physical or emotional health and development. So failure to take care of their physical needs, failure to take care of their emotional needs, not allowing them to play, and this thing about studying for C exams and whatever, and not allowing them to have time for activities and so on. That could be a form of neglect, not making sure that they have their nutritional needs and so on. Yeah? Next slide, please. Thank you. And then this one, which people do not even think is abuse, elder abuse. We have a lot of that happening these days, where and we have a lot of elderly people suffering with dementia who may be victims of stroke, whatever, health issues. And then we have situations where relatives collect their pensions, and none of it goes towards the elderly. Yes? And then they don't allow them to go out, socialize. They will probably be locked in a room, not allowed to exercise. They're not being given baths. They are not taken care of. You know, if there's a family function, they will not be allowed to come out. They're not given nutritious meals. That's elder abuse. And we have increased incidences of elder abuse. And people are actually beaten up on mothers and fathers and aunts and uncles and so on in homes who they kind of take care of. All right, next slide, please. Thank you. So why does this happen? Why does this happen to more women than men? How come? What's causing this? We are civil society people. And so it's not about love, folks. It's not about love. The perpetrator is not doing this because they love you. They do this because they want to exercise power and control over you. The root cause of the violence, any violence, whether it's a war, any violence, the root cause is to exercise and maintain power and control. And it's the same thing in a relationship. And it is rooted in patriarchal systems where it is believed, any culture, any system that believes that one is superior to the other, there will be what we refer to unequal power relations. And if I believe, in some cultures, if I believe I am privileged as a man, or if I believe if one is privileged, it means that one is not valued, not so? And in a power relationship, if one is in charge, it means that one is not in charge. So that's how the power comes in and the power and control comes in. We understand that? Yeah, yep, no, nope. Okay, all right, next slide. All right, and so we come to what is known as the power and control wheel. And so the power and control wheel is very important for us to understand how complex this is. And so the perpetrator uses all of this, all of the forms of violence. They can use one or they can use all to ensure that they keep the survivor or the victim in a particular place. And then we ask questions when we hear somebody experiencing domestic violence or a woman experiencing domestic violence. We ask the question, why she don't just leave? Why she don't leave? Why she staying there and taking that? Sometimes, and in most instances, the victim is not in a position to even do that. Take a first step. They can't. They're unable because, remember, the perpetrator has whittled away at my self-esteem and my self-worth. They are threatening me in all ways, shape, or form. I am dependent on them for my living. I'm cut away from my family, my brother, my sister, my friends. And listen, if you go by a family and stay 2 days, they're fed up a year, they're ready to throw you out already. Where are you going to go? Where is the victim going to go? Yeah? So it's important for us to understand the power and control wheel. Next slide, please. So we need for persons, we have daughters, we have sons, we need for persons to understand that there are red flags. And when we courting, we don't see the red flags, because we're in love, you know. I always tell people, when you're courting, you're getting chocolate and roses and all kind of thing. Listen, after you're married, you don't even see the picker on the rose. You might even see a leaf. Yes? So we have to look out for the red flags. So the red flags, they always want to know, and these are perpetrators, always want to know where you are, constantly messaging you, monitoring your social media, always calling you on the phone. Not on the landline, not on the cell phone, on the landline, because you could be somewhere else and answer the phone. So if they call on the landline, they know you're there. And the reason for dropping you is that they know you drop you there. And when they pick you up, when work finish or wherever, they're picking you up. But little do they know you could run away in between, right? Anyway, but that's another story. ask for you to change your clothes and dress more appropriate, policing your clothes, what you wear. This too short, so much showing, this not appropriate. I don't like that color. Policing what you wear, what you must put on, what color you must wear. And I like this. That's my favorite dress. And I buy that for you, put that on. Yes? Belittles you in public. In Trinidad and Tobago, we like to insult people by making jokes. Drop a joke on you, but really is to tell you really what you're thinking in the form of a joke. So perpetrators do that. Does not want anyone else to compliment you, look at you, or touch you. If a partner come and touch you on the shoulder or touch you on the arm and say, hey girl, how are you going? They're smiling, But when you reach home, it's drama. Who's that? Why let that person touch you? So those are signs. Does not want you to access education and job. Wants to spend every moment with you. Does not want you hang out with your friends. Wants, if you're on the phone, wants to know what conversation you had, what you talk about, how long you stay on the phone. Yes? Tells you that they need you in order to live. Claims that they know what's best for you. Wants to move into a relationship, wants to move into a house with you. They know you for 2 months and let me live together now. Because they want you to control. They want you in a place that they control you. Yes? Blames you for everything. You make me do that. And I don't like this. You're still going to do it. It's your fault. And it's not me, it's the rum. It's not me, it's the drugs. Yes? It's everybody else's fault except the perpetrators. Yes? Does not want you to seek advice from anyone, insist on dropping you off. And all of these are meant to ensure what? Power and control. Thank you very much. You're doing good, man. Really good. Thank you. Next slide, please. Right. You have to ask yourselves. Look at these. I wouldn't go through all in the interest of time. But I'll give you like a few seconds because you can read faster than I can talk. Look at this. If you fall into any one of these categories, whether you're male or you're female, you are a victim of domestic violence. Imagine, you're finding creative ways to kill your partner. I wish they get cancer. Why you don't get a heart attack? Yeah? Imagine that you get to that point where you're thinking those things and you want to find legal and acceptable ways where your partner could be killed because you're a victim, because you won't seek divorce, because divorce is frowned upon. Religious institutions don't like divorce too much, Because if you go by a priest, if you go by some pundits or some imam, some priests, they will tell you, God don't like divorces. God wants families and loves families. So stay there and take it. You're married, stay with your husband till you're dead. Unless he kill you first, then you'll really be dead. Yes? All right, next slide, please. Okay, so there is something called the cycle abuse. And sometimes we ask the questions, why do women stay? And what is happening here? So this cycle abuse happens in this way. So it starts with something called the tension building phase, where the tension starts to build up with the perpetrator. Stress at work, can't meet bills, for whatever reason. And of course, during this time, the victim knows, because the victim knows the perpetrator. He agitated, it coming. So at this point in time, what the victim start to do is do things to placate the perpetrator. He liked his food hot, making sure it hot. He liked the house clean, make sure it clean. You're doing everything. So perpetrator is in agitating mode and the victim is in placating mode. Yes? And that is when the tension building phase happens. It can last a day, 2 days, even a week. That's the tension building phase. And then the second phase is the incident. The incident where all hell breaks loose. Whatever type of abuse. Cuss out, beat up, whatever. Perpetrator feels a sense of relief. Of course, victim, battered, bruised, numb, all kinds of things. Now, when a victim is numb, And we ask the question, why doesn't a victim report? Call the police, whatever, and so on. Remember that that victim may not even be in a position to do anything. The shame, all kinds of things happening with the victim. They don't want to go outside. They don't want the neighbors to know what happened. Some can hide it very, very well. Some cannot. The whole community knows, all right? And so the incident happens. And then it moves on to the third phase where there is the reconciliation. Perpetrator feels a sense of relief. It happened. And, baby, sweetheart, honey, I won't do it again. I promise I wouldn't do it again. It wasn't me, It wasn't me. It was so much stress I was. And then at this stage, the victim is happy in a sense because this is who the victim really wants, a calm partner. Because this is the time when the person is well-behaved and remorseful and whatever, and there's calm, and there's no conflict in the reconciliation stage. And then we move to the fourth, which is the calm, which we call the honeymoon phase. The honeymoon phase is when the perpetrator is the perfect human being. You get in the flowers. If you wanted a TV, if you wanted for a long time, you're getting a smart TV, a 65-inch. If your stove wasn't working, you're getting it fixed. Garbage and everything will take out for, So the perfect human being are the perfect person because they are remorseful because it's a cycle, until we end up back to phase one again. Because domestic violence is a pattern of abuse. Yes? Next slide, please. Okay, so there are some misconceptions of DV. How am I doing with time? How much time do I have again so I can rush through? 5 minutes? Cool, I'll do it, yeah. I'm almost to the end. I am always careful to keep my time allotted to me. And so there are some misconceptions. Men beat women because they love them. There are actually people out there who believe that. That's not true. Beating and licks could never be love. I don't understand that, even beating children. And some people say, well, I come out good. Look how good I come out. If it wasn't for licks, I wouldn't be so. I real good, But we do not want to know how much scars we get when physical violence is inflicted upon us. Women love when men beat them. We hear people saying that. I didn't come up with this list because I imagined it. I know I go out to communities, and this is what I hear, and people believe these things. Yes, it's sounding strange, but it's true. DV only occurs among lower class or in rural communities or in one particular ethnic group. That's not true. DV happens across the board. We have doctors, lawyers, imams, priests, lawyers, you name it, experiencing DV. Yes, the thing about that is when you're in a particular socio-income bracket, you can hide it better. You can go to private doctors, you can go to whatever, so you can drive in your car, that's in a garage, so people don't see it. You're just able to hide it better. Battered women can just leave. Do you think battered women can just leave after everything that I explained to you? They just can't leave just so. Where you going with a bandwagon of 5 or 6 children, you alone, and you have no source of income, nowhere to live, nowhere to go. It's not simply that they can just leave. Abuse takes place because of alcohol and drugs. That's not true. Abuse, alcohol, and drugs are what we refer to as the triggers. They trigger an ideology. They trigger a belief system. Abuse takes place because one perpetrator wants to exercise power and control over the other. And when that is threatened, the ability to exercise the power and control, then violence is triggered. All the forms of violence is triggered. They use it to maintain it. Victims can just fight back or walk away. Victims provoke the violence. We hear people saying that. What she was doing in a rum shop? What she was doing there? Why she didn't come home by 6 o'clock as the person wanted? We blame women. We shame and blame victims a lot. Yes? Domestic violence is a private matter, and it's none of my business. So we still have people going to police stations and report. We still have people going to religious leaders and hearing, oh, you go and make up now. Yeah, go and make up and sort all your business out, because when two all you hug up in all your bed is me to catch. We hear that. We hear that, yes? And then we have the erroneous belief, I can change them, especially when we courting. We see the red flags there. When I get married to them, I go change them. Folks, we can't change nobody. They must change themselves. They must know that something wrong that's happening. Next slide. Okay, so victims stay for a number of reasons. I'll leave you to read that. Look at how much reasons. Social standing, cultural beliefs, family pressure. Yes, family pressure persons into staying into abusive situations. How the family go look? It gonna make the family look bad. Yes? Next slide, please. What can be done? I'll just deal with the first one because there are a number of things that can be done, and I can share the presentation with anybody who wants to have it. Imagine I have to tell a person develop a safety plan. Imagine you getting beaten up, and I have to tell you, well, when you're getting beaten up, avoid the kitchen. Don't get beat up in the kitchen. Move the fight to the drawing room. That's developing a safety plan. Why not why we don't want the fight in the kitchen? Yes. And what's another place we don't want the fight to happen? Bathroom. Any places of danger. You know, you try, even in that state, you had to kind of have a safety plan. Tell the children, if mommy say apple, if mommy say fig, run and tell the neighbor, call auntie this. So develop a safety. I'm sorry, my pause is raising because we have to actually tell people this, and it pains me. Develop, put your passport, birth certificate, important documents in a place where the perpetrator doesn't know, because the first thing they want to do is mash up all and destroy all of your important documents. Your passport, why? Because you can't leave the country. If I don't have you, nobody else will. Yes? Yeah. And, of course, there are the numbers, 800 SAVE, all of the other important numbers. Folks, I just want to tell you, domestic violence is a crime. And in the same way, if we see a burglar or a thief in a neighbor yard, if we see domestic violence, we have a responsibility to report it. Call the police. 1 in every 3 women who experience domestic violence stay silent about the violence because the place is not safe. We feel if we tell somebody, they'll laugh at us. We feel if we tell somebody, you know, it will bring shame to us. There's a stigma attached to it. I want to encourage all of us to treat with this thing, because we are creating another generation of abuse. Because children and persons who are exposed to domestic violence will more than likely are more likely to either become victims or perpetrators. We really need to break the cycle. So here ends my presentation, and I thank you for being I didn't see too many sleeping and nodding. I think I saw this gentleman here nodding a few little times. He probably wake up late last night taking care of the baby, right? Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for the opportunity. Oh, there's a question, I understand. Sure. Yes. 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 So I will give you 2 contact numbers. I'll give you I always give out my personal cell phone. Please don't call me 1 o'clock in the morning. Yes. But you're very right. That's when it happens. But trust me. Anyway, yes. But if you're in a situation like that, if it happens at 1 o'clock in the morning, please call the police. You can call 911. There is a gender-based violence unit. And my cell number is 324-8606. And the number for my organization, all our services are free at the Coalition Against Domestic Violence. We provide free counseling service, support services, food support, free legal consultations. And the number for our organization is 624-0402. I should have brought it today, but I ran out. This week was a full week for me, so I ran out of materials. And so I will provide to the members some brochures and cards. We have some little cards, so you can give out. I apologize for not bringing it with me, but I've been on the road for a great number of times for this week. Yes? Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Maulabaksh. And I'd call on our first Vice President, Mrs. Sandra Suku, to make a small presentation, a token of our gratitude for your taking your time to present to us this morning. And now I hand you over to Pandit Rudy to do the official words of appreciation. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Tiwari. Please give her a round of applause. I want to say it's bittersweet this morning. I want to applaud our presenter for a very enthusiastic, well-informed, well-presented conversation this morning. And the bitter part about that is that your enthusiasm and energy has to be directed to a topic such as this. And I think, it is unfortunate, and it is an unfortunate reality that we don't want to speak about. Panditji was speaking about another unfortunate reality, the very bad thing. And this is another example of another very bad thing in our society and in our midst. And it is these little steps and these little sessions, and I'll use them as little steps and little sessions, that firstly make us aware of the fact that there is a problem and there is an issue, and make us aware of the fact that that problem and issue is not confined to us as individuals. It is a societal and it is a global issue. And it also speaks to the fact that we are not alone. So anybody sitting here hiding behind a smile, realizing that this is your reality, I hope you recognize that you are not alone in this, and it is something that support is available and change can happen. And let us hope when you call the police station at 1 in the morning, there's a vehicle available to respond in a timely fashion. So this morning, on behalf of the Sri Sivak Sabha, on behalf of the members of the Krishna Mandir, Mrs. Maulabaksh, we want to extend our profound thanks to you for a very well-informed, very detailed presentation. And I just want us all to move to that cycle and that part of the cycle and stay there where we are all caring. And we remain in that particular mode and modality in all of our interactions with each other. Thank you very much once more and once again. As I have the mic. Next week, we will also be having, courtesy Dina Singh, a very important segment as we look at Down syndrome and awareness about Down syndrome. And she will be delivering a little segment during our service next week as well. So Dina, yes, you're on. And then the following week, another very important topic concerning our environment and how it impacts upon us and how it impacts upon our community. We all talk about how hot the weather is and so on. So on the 24th, we will be having a featured speaker, retired Professor Sharma, who will be sharing some information with us. So there are a number of events that are coming, number of different speakers that will be coming in the incoming weeks and coming months, and you'll be hearing more about that. And we want to invite you all to join with us. I know my wife normally tells me, don't do the announcements right after the discourse, but please allow me. Saraswati Mata Puja will take place on this Friday. So those of you who are writing examinations of any kind, please come this Friday from 5 p.m. and we'll be having puja. Persons who are interested in learning to sing Chautal after a 3-year hiatus, we've not been singing Chautal since before the pandemic. We resumed this morning in anticipation of taking part in events this year. So everyone, young, old, all genders, please come and learn and join in Chautal singing, which takes place right after service. You're also reminded of upcoming events which will be taking place in the month of April, and I speak of Navaratri, Ram Navami, and Hanuman Jayanti. We will be telling you more about that. And finally, I want to extend profound thanks to all persons who really came out and enjoyed a wonderful, wonderful Mahashivratri celebration. Panditji did a tremendous job, and he and members of the group stayed here until 6 the following morning. So it was the full 12-hour sojourn of that devotion. And there was I think all of you who were here were there on Mahashivratri night, and we received that wonderful blessing. It was the largest turnout of persons we've had since prior to the pandemic. So give yourself a round of applause for that. The Bhasma was shared this morning following the Hawan that took place on that night, and we are now adorned and sanctified and indeed strengthened by the adornment of that Bhasma that Panditji has distributed this morning. We will now have Aarti. Somebody wanted to ask a question, right? So who's the person that wanted to ask a question? Okay, so we'll invite the question directed to Mrs. Maulabaksh, if she could just facilitate one question before we conclude. Use the mic right there. And I think Mrs. Maulabaksh might need a mic as well.
Apologies for cutting
Check 1, 2.
short the time allocated to do RT. My question is a little bit out there, but it's particularly directed to your views on what do you think is applicable to this topic when a lot of religions themselves preach that women are subservient to men. I mean, 1 Corinthians 11, chapter 11, verse 3 says that the head of a woman is a man and the head of a man is God. Even in the Quran, it says that as well, that a woman's duty is to be obedient, and if not, then you should discipline her in whatever way. So if we, yes, so if we are people of God who would like to encourage our male counterparts, my male counterparts, to come to religious institutions such as this, and across all religions, to be informed about such issues or such inequalities in society, how is it that these things can be phrased differently such that they aren't just taken at face value and literally? So some people could say, well, this is exactly what's said, so I must do that.
And that's a very good question, and therein lies why this thing is so difficult to change, simply because it represents an ideology. It's an ideology and a belief system which privileges the male. So when a woman is pregnant, what happens? What is the first question we ask?
Is that a boy?
If it's a boy or a girl. And why do we ask that? Because if it's a boy, we want to buy blue things, and we want to buy certain kinds of clothes. And if it's a girl, we want to buy certain kinds of clothes of a certain color. And then if it's a child, we want which gender first, which sex first? A boy. Everybody wants the boy first, because in the culture and the ideology, it's about privileging one. And in many countries of the world, China had the one-child policy, and then the one-child policy, everybody wanted a boy. And then in places like Pakistan and all of the Asian countries, India, if it's a girl, if they do an ultrasound and they find out it's a girl, they're aborted. If a baby is born and it's a girl child, they kill the girl child because the male is privileged. And so the only way we can change that is to change the ideology. And the ideology has to change by valuing and equally valuing boy and the girl, and making sure there are no differences in how we grow them up. So washing wares, everything is a life skill. It's not a gendered role. It's not what you do as man and woman. It's what you do to make your life better and to equip you for life. That's a life skill. So it's important, and even the religious, to specifically answer your questions, even the religious institutions, they are steeped in that ideology. And they use the instruments, the Quran, the Bible, etc., which were written by men, by the way, to justify and maintain that belief system. So it's all about what we call confronting and unpacking those systems and those belief systems that's used to justify and we believe with all our heart and soul and perpetuate. So it has to be about breaking that cycle and confronting those belief systems, politically, economically, religious as well. Yes? I hope that answers your question.
Thank you very much. And I think this begs the need for another session at another time when we can have these conversations
I
and
wouldn't
questions.
mind a time when we can just engage, yes?
Yes.
I'd be happy to come back.
Thank you so much. So at this point, in the interest of time, thank you very much, Mrs. Maulabaksh, once more. Please give her a round of applause. For the next 15 minutes, we shall be engaging in Aarti. And in the interest of time, we will invite you just to the Murtis only, not to the Bedi. And you can go to the multiple Murtis that are there, perform your Aarti so that there isn't one long line. Bench by bench, we come forward now as the group engages in Kirtan.
तेरी शरण मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण सारे राग विराग होवे अब हो सारे त्याग हुए अब सारे राग विराग हुए अब हो सारे त्याग हुए अब एक यही मेरा बंधन मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण माँ मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण अविरत रहा भटकता अब तक अविरत रहा भटकता अब तक भटकूं और अभी मैं कब तक भटकूं और अभी मैं कब तक पालूं केवल तुझको ही माँ पालूं केवल तुझको ही माँ एक यही मेरी है लगन मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण माँ मेरा जीवन तेरी शरण
मातङ्गवदना आनन्दसदना
मातङ्गवदना आनन्दसदना
महादेव शिवशम्भो नन्दन
महावीर शिवशम्भुनन्दन
महादेव शिवशम्भो नन्दन
महावीर शिवशम्भुनन्दन
मातङ्गवदना आनन्दसदना
वदना आनन्दसदना
मातङ्गवदना आनन्दसदना
मातङ्गवदना आनन्दसदना
मायविनाशक मूषिकवाहन
Prem Spulimapati Mahadeva ki jai. Yes, give those two young ones, please, a very lusty round of applause. Sanvi and Tejasvi, our future bhajan group singers and leaders. Let us all now stand for our Purnahuti and final arti. And this morning, we had the pleasure of having this family sitting with us to perform puja. And there are two young ones who will be 5 years of age very shortly this month who are sitting. And those are Sai and Gia Marie. Please give them a round of applause as they celebrate their birthday. Other persons who are celebrating their birthdays, happy birthday to you, and particularly my Aji, who is down at the very end of the front bench, Mrs. Miraj, who celebrates her 97th birthday, I believe, this Tuesday coming. So please give her a round of applause. May Bhagwan bless you all. May you continue to enjoy good health, happiness, peace, and prosperity. We engage now in Purnahuti. Hari Om Jayanti Mangala Kali Bhadra Kali Kapalini Durga Kshama Shivaratri Swaha Swudha Namostute. Om Purnamadat Purnamidam Purnat Purnamodakshate Purnasya Purnamadhaya Purnamivavashishyate. Om Sarvam Ve Purnahum Swaha. Arti Bhajan.
Om Jai Jagadish Hare Swami Jai Jagadish Hare Bhakt Jano ke sangat Das Jano ke sangat Char mein dur kare Om Jai Jagadish Hare Jo dhyave phal paave dukh bin se man ka Swami dukh bin se man ka Sukh sampatti ghar aave Sukh sampatti ghar aave Kasht mite tan ka Om Jai Jagadish Hare मात पिता तुम मेरे शरण कहूँ किसकी स्वामी शरण कहूँ किसकी तुम बिन और न दूजा तुम बिन और न दूजा आश करो जिसकी ओम जय जगदीश हरे तुम पूर्ण परमात्मा तुम अंतर्यामी स्वामी तुम अंतर्यामी पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर पार ब्रह्म परमेश्वर तुम सबके स्वामी ओम जय जगदीश हरे तुम करुणा के सागर तुम पालन करता स्वामी तुम पालन करता हम सेवक तुम स्वामी हम सेवक तुम स्वामी कृपा करो भरता ओम जय जगदीश हरे तुम हो एक अगोचर सबके प्राणपति स्वामी सबके प्राणपति किस विधि मिलो दया में किस विधि मिलो दया में तुम हो मैं कुमति ओम जय जगदीश हरे दीन बंधु दुख हरता तुम रक्षक मेरे स्वामी तुम भक्त जनों के संकट, दास जनों के संकट क्षण में दूर करे। ओम जय जगदीश हरे, ओम जय जगदीश हरे, ओम जय जगदीश हरे।
Hari Om. As we conclude our puja and our satsang this morning, O Prabhu, we come before you with our hearts filled with love for you. We ask for your blessings upon each and every one of us. We ask for blessings upon our family. We ask for blessings upon our community and indeed upon all of humanity. We pray for those persons who may be ill, those persons who may be ailing either at homes or in the hospitals. We pray for those persons who may have lost loved ones, that you indeed give them that strength and that solace. For those individuals who are on a path of deviant behavior and deviant activity, we ask you, Prabhu, to restore their mind and their activities once more to uplifting ones and constructive ones. For we firmly believe that you are mother, we firmly believe that you are father, that you are family, that you are friend, that you are knowledge, that you are wealth, that you are everything to us. We surrender ourselves completely to you. In one voice, brothers and sisters, we join together in closing mantra. Hari Om. Tvameva Mata Shapita Tvameva Tvameva Bandhu Shaseka Tvameva Tvameva Vidya Dravinam Tvameva Tvameva Sarvam Mamadeva Deva Om Asato Ma Sadgamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. प्रेम से बोले श्री गणेश भगवान की जय, उमापति महादेव की जय, वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, आज शक्ति जगदम्बा देवी मैया की जय, श्री पवन पुत्र हनुमान की जय। प्रेम से बोले श्री सच्चे सनातन धर्म की जय। To those around you, सब कोई जय जय सीताराम. Have a very powerful, very productive, very safe week ahead. Next week, as we engage in that awareness for Down syndrome, and as we observe the International Day of Awareness for Down syndrome the following week, we encourage all of you, when you come to Mandir, to wear the colorful socks as we rock our socks in awareness. So next week, please, you can come to the Mandir and you can wear the colorful socks that I'm sure we all have in our drawers, nicely washed and packed away, and you can have them. Or I'm told that the floor is skid-proof. Or make sure the socks are skid-proof so you don't slide on the terrace. Yeah, so we see you all next week wearing those wonderful colored socks. Please have a very wonderful day and week ahead. Remember, Chautal practice takes place right now, so please come to the front on the carpeted area to engage in Chautal singing.